So can we type this question in ChatGPT? This has a very, reasoned answer.
So this is the app. So as you can see, this has something called a consensus filter. So you ask it a question and it gives you say yes or no.
Even though Boston is windy, but there's not enough, things to fly around.
This is where OpenAI's new model comes in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a series of discussions on AI. We do this thing called AI Roundtable in Cambridge, Boston area, wherein we talk about the AI news of the week. And this week was a very eventful week, and we'll get started with the news. What happened in AI this week, Kiran?
So this is what we're gonna look at this week. So Meta has released like a document on how they are gonna approach their AI models from now on. And apart from that, there's a really interesting app that's gonna help you answer questions, but with valid sources. So this consensus AI. So it's like ChatGPT, but you ask it questions and it gives you resources for that. Gives you as yes or no and how valid that theory is and all of that. Also, the most interesting thing in today's podcast is gonna be GPT-4b and Yamanaka factors. I think we need to delve more into that. Also, OpenAI has released a new feature called the deep research. We'll get into that as well.
So let's start with the Meta's approach to frontier AI. So nowadays, big companies like Meta are building like super powerful AI systems, which can do pretty much amazing things. So it basically does what is helping students with the assignments or with the research for the researchers and for the doctors to help them understand the scans or classify the scans without without an effort for them to classify the scans and all. And so it's basically even solving big science problems and something like that. So, but like fire can cook food or burn a house down. AI can also pretty much do bad things and good things. So, for to avoid the bad part of the AI, Meta has come up with a plan to make sure that AI is safe to use and something like that. So this plan is called as Frontier AI Framework, and it's mainly of divided into three main things. First one would be checking for dangers. So before releasing an AI, they test if it could be misused for hacking or harmful purposes. That would be the first one. And the second one would be it basically puts safety rules in place. So, for example, if an AI is too risky, they either fix it or limit its usage or stop developing it at all. And third one is they're planning to work with experts in the fields where this AI could be, play a major role. So, for example, these guys don't make decisions on their own. Instead, they talk with scientists if this particular AI is gonna, play its part in the field of science. If it's gonna play in the part of like in the area of government, they're gonna sit with government officials and discuss what this AI could be done and something like that. And with researchers in the area of research. So basically, they want an AI to help people rather than rather not harm them. So just like how we teach kids the difference between right and wrong, something like that. So to give a good example of this, like bad part of the AI, in 2001, A Space Odyssey a film by Stanley Kubrick. In this film, the dangers of AI are like portrayed through HAL 9000, a computer
Which
that
movie are you
empowered
talking about, if I may ask?
yeah, A Space Odyssey 2001, a film by
Oh,
Stanley Kubrick.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
good.
So in this particular film, I don't want to give a spoilers, but I'll just give the what happened in that particular movie. So it basically turns against them when it perceives their uh, plans as a threat to its mission, like the AI mission. So it would be described in a tense and eerie kind of scene. And basically, it refuses to, you know, open the door for one of the astronauts who are aboard that ship. So this particular moment serves as a warning, like if the AI is unchecked or misaligned with human values, it can become a serious danger rather than a helpful tool. So yeah.
I think like in this particular thing, uh, this area of work would be called safe AI or safety in AI. Is that the general umbrella under which
Yeah, yes, sir.
this branch of AI falls in?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So I think there have been a lot of let's say buzz in this space because apparently the whole thing was blown out of proportion when in somewhere in 2016 or 2018, Elon Musk made a statement saying that the progress in AI is accelerating and you have to be careful. And from that point onwards, this movement, the safety AI movement, has sort of taken off, wherein people are figuring out, let's say, corner cases of all the things where AI can go bad. And if any technology is getting used by lots of people, even let's say a 0.1% variation in the actual intended use uh, will cause significant number of people to have face consequences of the bad use of AI. So that being the case, I think Meta's work in this space is quite laudable. Do we have anything, let's say, demoable or any video on this that we can probably show?
Not a demo. They did release a PDF containing all the stuff that they're going to do.
Just yeah.
Video as such, though.
Okay, can we take a look?
Yeah, yeah.
That's well. See, anything Meta is always like a safe company. It always plays it safe because like they have such huge user base. I think last time I checked, they had like 3 billion users. Like if you combine, uh, I think 3 billion to 4 billion users, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, all combined. That's like half of humanity. So given the stakes to be that high, I think they are extra careful in terms of where
Yes, sir.
they spend their money.
So this is the article that from where I took the information from. So this is like a newsroom that Meta does, and this is the PDF that showcases the framework.
Can we quickly scroll through? Okay, so there are 5 frameworks. Okay, evaluate and mitigate, decide. From the sense that I get, all of this is sort of futuristic and doesn't have like a real life use case right now that can be utilized immediately. Is that a fair assessment? Meaning, like these are
Yeah,
all
yeah.
corner cases. These are like buying insurance policies against like tail risk, very rare events. Isn't that the norm, or do you think like there is something that is something that is a dominant phenomenon that it happens more often than people are giving credit for?
I think this particularly is, I think, their approach. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
but I think these are like they are coming up with a certain set of, let's say, business rules for their AI models.
Okay. Yeah, I think there is nothing. I mean, I'm looking for anything that is like that has a bite in it that is immediately newsworthy, but I don't think it has. These are all these headings seem like headings of safety manual.
Yeah, this is like a safety manual.
Mm.
Oh, it is a safety manual for
Yeah,
AI, right?
yeah, it is a
Yeah.
safety manual for AI.
Even the colors, right? Very gentle, like nothing garish, nothing like, yeah. It's very wet,
Okay.
typical Meta, played safe. That's why, Mark supports whoever is ruling the country, whichever. So he's always safe. So what else did we have
We
apart
have
from this? Do we don't have any demos on Meta, right?
no, sir.
No, we don't. So we do have a demo on the next topic that is consensus AI. So let's
Consistency. Yeah.
see. So this is the app. So as you can see, this has something called a consensus meter. So you ask it a question and it gives you say yes or no and all that. So yeah, I'll just play the demo. I think it'll be easier for us to understand.
Sure.
Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Ask a yes/no question. So we've got a couple of examples here. We'll just use one of these. Does creatine help build muscle? So we'll click on that, and it takes a little while for it to do the searching. Actually, that was a little bit quicker than usual. And so here we can see that it has a number of citations. For each one, it gives the little description of the finding, the journal it was published in, the authors, the date. If we click on it, then we can actually see the title. It's one downside that I don't like is it doesn't give you the title without clicking on it, but that's a pretty minor thing. It's got a link to the full text. And if we come back to that page, if we scroll down, it also highlights where we've got things like a randomized controlled trial, or a systematic review, or a paper that's been highly cited. And so it will favor these. So these better sources that have been highly cited, that are doing systematic reviews and meta-analyses. Here's another one, very rigorous journal. So it is actually qualifying the quality of its findings. The other thing that I really like, if we come back up, is it will give a summary, and it has this thing called the consensus meter. So it's gone through, it's picked out what it thinks are the 13 best papers where there is a clear-cut yes, possibly, or no, and then it just gives us a little summary here. So our question, does creatine help build muscle? And it's saying, well, of those 13 papers, 69% said yes, 31% said possibly. The summary, it based on what it thought was the top 10 papers. And these numbers, the top 10, the top 13, they seem to change as you ask different questions. So I think what it has is a threshold of if a piece of evidence is up to a particular standard, and it seems to be a pretty high standard, then it will include it in the consensus meter and it'll include it in the summary. If we scroll down, we can see these different articles. I do hope that they put in the titles. It's the one thing that it could probably do a little bit better. We can see over here we've got some possiblies, some yeses. And if we keep coming, we have a load more button, so it can keep loading more. So we can hit that and it will keep searching for more. So this is a really great thing for you if you're doing any kind of literature review, or you just want to get a really quick summary about some sort of relationship, or particularly these yes-no questions with this consensus. I've tried a few and I've found that for some, there's not enough papers that meet the threshold, and you'll get a little message here saying it can't find enough research. It will still list papers and it will still give the little finding summaries, but it doesn't give us the consensus meter if it doesn't think that it has enough different papers to be able to do that. They have these different warnings, so there's
So this is what the app is about. I think this is similar to ChatGPT's web search option, but this is like a special use case for it. So this is free. They do give you a pro account for a few days. I'll just show you the
So
demo.
if I understand it right, it's like you can do it's like Google Scholar, slightly a better version with more interactive version of Google Scholar. And it also gives you, apart from citations, it tells you what is the consensus. Uh, and I'm assuming they're waiting, they're weighing the reputation of the person who is giving the consensus at some point. So it doesn't happen the case that it's some version of community note that Twitter has, right? The Twitter has something similar, wherein like as soon as you point some fact, immediately the community responds, and based on the voting, it decides what is true and what is not true. And I'm assuming this has slightly better way of weighing whose opinion is important and whose opinion is not. And these are all subjective. So if we can just
Yeah.
if we can figure out a way to like disable the WhatsApp, right? So it just tweaking. Yeah, this seems like is this the app?
Yeah, that is the app.
So okay, why don't we query something like what about KKL inequality? inequality.
We need to ask it a question rather than.
Okay, KKL inequality 1988.
Okay, let's try it out.
Okay. Inequality introduced in the fundamental result if there are several functions. Excellent. Try to read Lagrange's variance inequality. Okay, it gives you extensions, generalizations, counterexamples, limitations. Okay, alternative proofs and techniques. This is interesting. Banach type. Okay, then you have related, you have results, and you have these are like the top papers, I suppose. And wait a second, that's 2022 with 0 citations. Why is that appearing right at the top? Is it because it's recent?
I think there are filters for that. This is the result.
But ideally, if you're, showing references, but
Okay,
no, I
there is
think,
a filter here.
oh, there's a filter here. Oh, but
Yeah.
we haven't clicked anything. So no, my question is, why is it showing the reference with the least amount of citations? Maybe that's an important paper and it's like an obscure topic and it's not that big a deal.
Okay, the second one has 18 citations, but the third one has 2
Okay,
citations.
2 citations.
I don't think it is ranking it according to citations because this one has 322 citations, but
322.
this one.
Can we click one
Fine.
and see? He showed some more options, right? Like we can click.
Yeah.
We
This is
can
the filter.
click, and from that, where is the consensus here? Where's the consensus part?
I think this is the one.
Is this the one? Okay.
One most influential.
Most influential. Okay.
And I guess if you click here,
Shows
it'll
the
take
error
you
amount
to
can
that.
be used as effective complexity. Hmm, hmm, hmm. So why don't we just type let's say Jensen-Shannon divergence.
Can you spell it out?
Jensen, Jensen, Sen, Shannon, Shannon, divergence.
Yes, the consensus meter is for a yes and a no. So that's the reason, since it's not a yes or no question, I think that doesn't pop up.
Okay, can you repeat that again?
So the consensus meter, I guess it pops up whenever there's a yes or a no question.
Yeah. So should we ask a yes or a no question? Like,
Yeah.
is Jensen-Shannon divergence the best divergence? The best divergence metric?
Okay.
Okay, it has to be yes, no.
Yeah. Oh,
It says yes, 100%.
100%. Okay.
okay,
And then can you put is KL divergence the best divergence metric? That we can trick that, right?
okay.
KL divergence, the best divergence metric. It probably says yes to that too, I guess.
Okay. Did it give me that?
What happened to the consensus? Maybe you
Okay, I don't have the consensus here.
Maybe you can add
Okay,
like
but it
answer in yes
does.
or no terms.
This
You
is
can
a
add a
yes or
line
no
like,
question.
okay,
Okay, let's just.
yeah.
no, it
Okay,
did
I
not
didn't
give.
give it.
The only question is, can we do side by?
This one, scale divergence.
Yes, is KL divergence the best is KL divergence the best divergence metric? Yeah.
Okay. So
So this gives you like standard Wikipedia, copy paste. It doesn't give you any subjective things. Yeah,
yeah, these are the
citations.
articles. I think this one's a paper. Okay. This one's an article as well.
Right,
I,
article, individual websites and stuff. So that way, that is better because it gives you a more enhanced, let's say, informed opinion, right? The Consensus app. Is Consensus from Meta? No, right? That's an
no,
independent
I
company.
think this is an independent thing.
Okay. Can we go to the Consensus again? Can-
So this gives
uh,
only, I think the resources that it shares with you are just papers. It doesn't pull articles off the internet. I think that's their,
Okay, can
their
you go back to the last question wherein it actually gave the consensus opinion? I want to explore. Yeah, the previous one.
Jensen Shang,
Jensen
yeah.
can. Yeah. There it gave 100%. And is there a more interactivity? Can we click some more on consensus? Oh, it's papers from high impact journals and conferences demonstrate Jensen Shannon divergence metric properties and applications in quantum and classical contexts. Okay. Is similarity between distributions is often used as a robust choice due to properties. Okay, can we ask something more like why do we use normal distribution for, in AI as opposed to any other distribution? The distributions are due to mathematical practicality, ability to be transformed to more complex distributions through normalizing flows. Okay, this is interesting. So can we type this question in ChatGPT?
yeah.
So I want to know how much is retrieval, how much is reasoning, and yep, this has a very, reasoned answer as opposed to that one. Another thing that I've noticed in ChatGPT is like most mathematical topics, it does a very good job. I think when it comes to factual content, it goes off base from time to time. Yeah, it has references and stuff. So if you're studying, if you have to make a decision based on this, if you have to use one of these tools for as a study guide, which one would you go for?
I guess if I'm looking for like real evidence other than just articles, I would go for the consensus stuff. Because in
Okay,
GPT, I
but
think GPT is also able to do that, but you gotta explicitly ask it to give us research papers. But this is quite simple. You just type
okay,
in your
so if you're
question.
writing a research paper, you'll definitely go for with consensus. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
fair?
yeah,
Yeah. If you're
yeah,
writing a research paper wherein you have to cite every line that you end up putting in your paper, then consensus is a better tool than, let's say, ChatGPT. But if you're
yeah,
not doing research, if you're just studying a topic for the very first time, I think GPT is better. Would you think? Would you say?
yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I would say.
yeah, yeah. I think this is a good demonstration of these two. Can we open DeepSeek and do the same question? Just like
Yeah,
copy the,
Yeah.
it's giving OpenAI's answers, right?
yes, sir, pretty much.
Yeah.
Convenience in
CLD,
Okay.
modeling,
Yeah.
parameter estimation. It is
mathematical
also, these are not
simplification.
like very, very obscure questions, right? There is a common, so I mean, you can give the benefit of the doubt for these questions. What about like the divergence? Is it the best? Something like that. Can you give it in DeepSeek? Is Jensen Shannon divergence the best?
Okay.
Divergence, the best divergence metric. I don't think that gives.
Yeah. It doesn't say.
It doesn't sense that
doesn't
much.
give you an outright yes or a no.
I think if I understand it right, it doesn't give you, let's say, more informed opinion about literature survey. And I don't think it is weighing the one paper over the other. It's just like, extracting all information from everywhere and giving you, and it's not giving you a ranked order and stuff. Ranked order way of looking at things, probably consensus is a better use case. If you want, let's say, I want to know the authoritative point of view on something, then that's better. Wait, consensus is only for academic journals, right? So you cannot put news in it and
I'm not sure. They market
so
themselves
can
as
we
more
put
academic.
something like Venezuela? I don't think it's live. Definitely not live because they wouldn't have temporary protected status Venezuela. So just to temporary protected status Venezuela. I don't think it can. This is like current news. No, no, I think this is no, there is
Yeah.
nothing current here. It's like legacy. So it's like looking at ancient, meaning like if you want to do a literature survey, this is probably like a better tool. It's not for current news. And yeah, if you're scrolling through news and want to get a better opinion, that's not probably a better idea. This is
I think
great. It's great. We can
GPT
put
is better for that. GPT and the DeepSeek is good for like check up on live news.
but consensus basically points out to the fact that there is still room for other apps to be there and do different things. It's not just all information retrieval and summarization. We can probably go to another topic.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next topic is very interesting. GPT-4b and Yamanaka factors. So this is Shinya Yamanaka. This is the guy who discovered the methodology to reprogram uh, normal cells into pluripotent stem cells. So, so what are these Yamanaka factors? These are like proteins, I guess, OCT3 by 4, SOX2, KLF4, and CMYC. So these four apparently that can reprogram mature adult cells into iPSCs, that is basically stem cells. Also, this researcher, he's from Japan. He also received a Nobel Prize in 2012, I guess. I think it was for the same research. So yeah. So what GPT-4b is? So this is like a collaborated project between a company called Retro Biosciences and GPT-4b. Sam Altman has invested around 180 million into this company. So
Oh,
the news is that GPT-4b can now help reprogram cells into stem cells at a rate of 50 times better is what I got to know. So
okay,
I'll just
so
play this.
it is able to reprogram your normal cell into a stem cell 50 times better than the current status quo.
Not better, more efficiently, something on the lines of that. Not in a better way, but faster or efficiently was the term that they
Oh,
used.
okay.
So I
So
guess,
essentially, this helps reversing cellular aging. So
yeah,
they're essentially trying to, this is the longevity bandwagon. I wouldn't call it bandwagon. There's a systematic science on this, and there are a lot of people like David Sinclair who have written books about why do we age and why we don't have to, and some other things on these lines. But I think this is great. I mean, I didn't realize like he had 180 million of his personal money stashed somewhere so that he can work on something like this is great. And and is this available for people to
no, it's not available even to the pro or premium users. I guess it's still in its testing phase. I guess, I think if you have special access, you might be able to use it. There are some videos on people asking it questions and all that. But yeah, as of now,
can we play
if
this
you're
video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rigorous and clinical one.
So this project didn't come out of nowhere. It's actually a collaboration between OpenAI and Sam's previously invested in company, Retro Biosciences. Retro's ambitious goal is to extend human lifespan by 10 years. Show images. Kalsa B roll like this. The science behind this involves something called Yamanaka factors. These are special proteins that can reprogram adult cells back into stem cells. Think of it like resetting your phone to factory settings, but for cells. The problem is, this process isn't very efficient. Less than 1% of treated cells actually complete the transformation. GPT-4b Micro has apparently made these Yamanaka factors work 50 times better than their original versions. That's not just an incremental improvement, it's a massive leap forward. Unlike other AI models that work with proteins, GPT-4b takes a unique approach. It was trained on protein sequences from many different species, along with data about how proteins interact with each other. While that might sound like a lot of data, it's actually much less than what ChatGPT was trained on, making this a small language model focused on a specific task. The implications of this technology are huge. More efficient stem cell production could lead to better regenerative medicine treatments, new ways to fight aging, potential breakthroughs in organ replacement, and more effective disease treatments. This development is particularly significant because it represents
The screen sort of
I guess,
froze.
yes, sir. I guess Kiran is also froze. He has
he's
an internet. Yeah,
confident
he's
his
back.
company knows how to build AGI, artificial general intelligence. He believes tools like this could massively accelerate scientific discovery and innovation.
Rigorous and clinical one.
So yeah, there's that.
Okay. So can we go to the beginning of the video? We can like the first, let's say.
Not to be outdone by the huge strides Google's DeepMind team has made in longevity research, OpenAI has just announced their first ever biological AI model, and it could be a game changer for extending human life. Let's break down what this means and why it matters. Breaking news just dropped from OpenAI, and it's not about an AI that can write for you like ChatGPT or another LLM breakthrough. Instead, OpenAI has quietly been working on something much bigger, extending human life itself. Let's talk about it. You've probably heard of AlphaFold, Google's protein folding AI that won the Nobel Prize last year. Well, now OpenAI is entering the scientific arena with their own protein engineering model called GPT-4b Micro. This isn't just another OpenAI announcement. This is OpenAI's first ever model custom built for biological research. The model is designed to turn regular cells into stem cells more efficiently than ever before. Stem cells are like the body's master cells. They can develop into almost any other type of cell in your body, which makes them incredibly valuable for regenerative medicine and anti-aging research. Now let's go back into the CEO of OpenAI and his history to understand what's
I
ahead
think we
of the
can
company. Sam Altman has actually invested a
we can pause. I think this is great. I mean, the only thing that longevity research has a lot of skeptics as well. Like even though David Sinclair is like a Harvard professor, he has a book, he's an author, he puts out a lot of material on YouTube. Even that to be the case, people think a lot of the people in longevity research are hyping things without. I mean, because the ability of a normal ability for a normal person to get benefit from something like this, or what I'm saying is this technology is at such a nascent stage for it to be mainstream to a point where commoners can access this is a couple of decades away, or like at least a decade away, is what people are saying. So, and in some of the, case control studies that people end up doing haven't borne out the results that they claim. So there is a potential, obviously. That's why, people have won Nobel Prizes and things of that nature, but still it's early stages before it, hits prime time. So,
one other thing I think I found was funny that Brian Johnson was on a podcast with Nitin Kamath, and I guess midway he just left because the air quality wasn't good enough. He was
so
walking
do we have
around.
video of that?
Yeah, I guess I can find some. Let me find it.
Yeah, I know. Brian Johnson is a celebrity in of himself. So I think the news says he went to India, I think Mumbai, and he went on a podcast. And apparently, he looked at the air quality indicator, air quality index, and it showed a score about 130. And he said, okay, this is too high, and he put a mask all throughout the entire podcast.
Yeah, I found the video. I mean, it's not the original one, but okay. Let me just share it.
That's okay. I just as a matter of fact, the place we are recording the video, before that, in terms of context, at least in Boston, the air quality indicator, I looked at this myself and it was around 15,
Oh,
15 to 20. So entire city of Boston, even though it's crowded and all that, it's still the air quality is pretty high. Yeah,
Okay.
you know.
I mean, air quality, water quality, maybe.
Air, water, and food.
Brian, do you agree? I guess like you, thinking through this because you can filter almost any water and get it to be pure. With food, you can grow your own food, but with air, you have no control. You're in a system. Is it okay if I put a mask on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
What is the air quality in New York, for example? Is it? I mean, I never really bothered to look for it. But what is the air quality in New York?
It's good throughout the U.S. Thanks. Yes. Yeah, the U.S. does a good job on air quality. Generally, like yeah.
But
Yes. Oh, yeah, actually. Good. Thank you. Let's see, test this out.
You feel better? That's
I do. Thank you. Thank you for addressing my emotional needs. I feel so much better. This will knock out 95%.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait.
I think not.
Is that the? Oh, okay, this is like, I don't think they aired this, right? I'm pretty sure they would have
yeah.
aired it. Yeah, but I think, see, eventually he got what he wanted, and I think the podcasters got what they wanted. It became a viral moment. If it was a normal podcast with no news, nobody would have watched it in the first place. Everybody, it's like a win-win for everyone, I guess. Yeah, I mean, air quality is, yeah. There is no way by which human beings themselves can control it. I mean, this has to be done at the level of governments, where lots of money has to be invested to sort of take the pollutants out of the environment to a point where air quality improves. That's a funny anecdote, though. When you talk about longevity and if the air quality is bad, I think anything that you do on your cells will not bear fruit.
I think even in US, Boston, surprisingly, since it's like a concrete jungle, like it still has a better air quality than I was in Arizona, and that had slightly worse air quality, even though
How
it's
much was
mostly a
that
desert.
in terms of
I think it
number?
was 34 to 45, and the Boston was around 15 at the same time.
Boston is 1.5, right? 1.5, 15.
Yeah. And even California, I mean, this is before the wildfires and everything. When I was there, it was around 75, although it's more like there's more trees and all of that there.
Yeah, I think if it is dusty, I mean, it's dust, and even though Boston is windy, but there's not enough, things to fly around. Also, the air is cleaner. That's interesting. Like, in terms of like the scores in, let's say, Indian cities, it would be great to compare India and China as opposed to India and US. That's more like a fair comparison. I think Bangalore is about, last time I checked, it's 150. Uh, Mumbai is probably like 150, 200. Uh, Delhi is like 300 or
Yeah,
something
Delhi
like that.
would top the list.
Yeah, I don't know why that is the case. And I always used to think it you only happens in winter, and in summer it's normal. But no, I think throughout the year the score is very high. And
Yes.
in winters, they have issues. This has been known even before we started looking at air quality indicators. In winters, Delhi is pretty harsh for people with, problems in breathing in general. So this was known even before air quality indicator was like a standard metric that people take a look at. So given that to be the case, this is like a premium, right? I mean, all the taxes people pay in US is like a premium for the cleaner air quality. I, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't make that
I
claim
mean,
because that would
I've
ensure like,
I've personally benefited from this air quality because in Bangalore, if even if it was summer or let's say any other season, I would always have a cough or a cold or have a running nose throughout the year. But ever since I've been here in Boston, I haven't got a cold once. Also, I was allergic to a lot of things in Bangalore. So I haven't got any, my allergies haven't been acting up here at all. So that is something that I immediately observed within
yeah,
these
yeah.
Even
I
years.
think there are numerous anecdotes that I've heard from lots of people who have moved from one country to another, wherein there is, especially like if there are kids in the picture, wherein like there are growing kids, and if they're very allergic to air, some sort of air, and if they move to US, their quality of quality of breathing dramatically improves, and they don't have allergies that they used to have. I've heard this anecdotes quite a few times. I I was looking at this. Somebody asked on Twitter based on this news article. Maybe it is the case that all populated countries are like this, and then somebody came up with an anecdote saying that the population in New York is pretty high, population in Tokyo is pretty high, and it's not the case. So it cannot be directly attributed to population alone. Like population density is directly proportional to air quality being bad, because there are lots of countries where the population density is pretty high and the air quality is pretty good. Japan and these countries being the case. The best comparison between Indian cities is probably Chinese cities. And if you compare, let's some of the industrial bases in China and to some of the industrial bases in, let's say, in India, that's a fair comparison. As opposed to India and US are like total different ball games. I mean, shouldn't even be. It's like comparing if you. It's like comparing the competence of a fish trying to climb a tree, so to speak. It's a different ball game altogether. That being the case, thanks guys for joining this week's episode. Do we have any other news, or that's about it?
we
We
have
have
a
open
deep
AIs.
research, OpenAI's deep
Oh,
research. Yeah.
got it.
Let me share the screen one more time. This is the video that he.
Yeah, Brian had to leave. Air quality in Bombay is not up to.
Yeah, so that's
They
about that.
eventually aired it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The whole
Oh, they
podcast
aired it
is
just now?
no. This is
I
some
guess
other
this
channel.
podcast was live, right?
Yeah, this podcast was around 4 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not like doing millions. It's doing, let's say, I know. Deepak Saini is one of the top guys in longevity in India. I don't know whether he was part of the podcast. Can you go to the podcast and take a look at all the guest names? Because I know a bunch of people in that
Okay,
podcast
so what I
already.
want for today.
Jitendra,
No.
Seema.
And
So Deepak
finally,
Saini is like the top IASC person who works on longevity. And I know her and Deepak Saini. Deepak Saini IASC. Is it Deepak Saini? No, I think yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of the top guys in longevity space. And I think he was part of the panel. I don't know why he was not part of the podcast. So he has a company, and his wife is a, He won the same award that we won as a company, and they're part of the same cohort. She runs a different company altogether. He's working on something interesting in the same space as David Sinclair. You can probably type David Sinclair, Sinclair Howard. Yeah, him. So they both like, I mean, they both are in the same space, but I think a lot of people are in the same space. We can probably go to the
So now you wanna do this?
Okay, so deep research AI, like it is an advanced research agent that is designed to autonomously search, analyze, and summarize like large amounts of information from online sources. So this particular update in the OpenAI helps a lot for literature review, for whoever in the field of research and something like that. So unlike traditional search engines, this particular thing performs multi-step reasoning and also verifies facts across multiple sources, and it basically generates a detailed reports on complex topics. So this particular thing will be very valuable for researchers, journalists, and scientists, something like that. And it also addresses challenges like uh, heavy information overload and time-consuming research, and also this particular thing requires high, significant computational power, and also may inherit biases from the existing data. So can you play the video, Kira?
Yeah.
OpenAI has just announced a Deep Research, which is their second AI agent after Operator. And with this Deep Research feature, this is an AI agent that plans and executes multi-step research workflows. They mentioned that it could take anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes for the full research report to be generated. How this works is you can ask for what you're looking for. It will ask some clarifying questions
So
just to make
like
sure
this,
before it goes off that it does have what you're asking for correct and any clarifying details that it might need, and then it will go off and begin researching. So you can see here, it starts researching, and then step by step, as the agent goes through the different tasks, it's going to highlight what it's doing. In this, we can see it's searching different websites, it's gathering particular details from each site, and going through what potentially could be dozens and dozens of websites before it returns the report back to you. Let's just quickly go through some aspects of the blog post. Today, we're launching Deep Research in ChatGPT, a new agentic capability that conducts multi-step research on the internet for complex tasks. It accomplishes in tens of minutes what would take humans many hours. This is going to be included in ChatGPT, and you'll be able to find, analyze, synthesize hundreds of online sources to create a comprehensive report at the level of a research analyst. One of the interesting pieces within the blog post that they mentioned is that this is actually powered by one of the upcoming OpenAI O3 models that's optimized for web browsing and data analysis. This deep research model is actually the first publicly available model where we're going to be able to access that full O3 model and not just these O3 mini models that came out on Friday. So they mentioned that this is optimized for both web browsing but also data analysis. Within its abilities, it can reason for what it searches for. It has a code interpreter where in the announcement they mentioned that you'll be able to create visualizations from that interpreter. You can imagine if you
we
have a
can
data heavy
skip to
task
the
that requires it to plot some sort
comparison
of
part.
data.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, this part.
yeah, that part. So here, a comparison between the GPT-4 model and the deep research model is being happen. And if you could
In
see,
their blog post, find evidence that
yeah, play the video.
shows that buttons, icons, and labels are more usable than buttons without labels, or labels without icons. I know there are a lot of user studies on it. Would love to see a detailed report. Within here, we see GPT-4o's response is relatively
Pause.
brief, but really
Can you
doesn't give
pause
us
it?
enough information. OpenAI has just announced a
Oops.
deep
Yeah, go to the comparison between GPT-4o and the deep research.
Yeah. Okay.
So
We
here, if you could see on the humanities, like last examination, the deep research OpenAI has scored the accuracy of 25.3, and it is 26.6 25.3 to 26.6%, something like that. And this particular graph says between the metric between y being the y being the pass rate and the x being the most tool max tool calls. So here the more this particular model researches on a topic, the better it performs. So this particular graph says about this. Yeah, that's all about deep research.
So, and
So
what is it priced at? I mean, how much does it cost though, this tool?
I'm not sure if it's
If it's
in the
released or not,
$20 version. Uh, I have O3. I don't have
or three
the
minimum. Yeah,
I don't have the
deep research.
deep research part.
I guess that filter is
Number
not
is
been yet added.
yeah. I, I think it is more with respect to the $200 version. But
Yeah,
GPT-4o also has something called scheduled tasks. I think it's more or less that, but it doesn't use O3. It uses the GPT-4o model.
So
Also, last week
basically, it will search when the bandwidth is available, something like that.
no, I think you can just ask it questions and just leave it at that, and it'll just generate and keep the answers ready,
yeah.
something on that lines.
Oh, that's actually great. So you
Instead
can,
of just answering, it also asks questions like, in what particular area do you want this answer or something like that.
wow.
Also, last week
And
we
also,
got access for O3 Mini and O3 Mini High
O3
on
mini
the $20
version.
subscription. Haven't
Okay.
tried it out, but apparently it's supposed to be better at coding than GPT-4o.
Yeah, we can probably demo it some other time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah. So this was O3 Mini was given access to a lot of people in the premium account since last week.
yeah,
yes.
around that time. Yeah,
Yeah.
But this deep
So I
research
think
was released
go
before
ahead.
the O3 mini and O3 had. Like it was like a pilot version of the O3 mini and O3. The deep
Okay.
research thing. Yeah.
So what we can do is like we can probably demo this in the weeks to come.
Okay.
Guys, if you're joining it for the very first time, joining this talk for the very first time, we do these kinds of talks every week. Please do tune in every week on the channel. And if you have any questions that you want answered, leave the comments in the comment section. Thank you. See you next week. Take care.
Yeah.